Welcome to Awakening Mindfulness at Work, a conversation that matters. I'm Pierre
And I'm Sarah Killeen. We are bringing to you conversations and practices to cultivate presence, calm, and balance in the workplace.
So let's begin right here, right now. Hello and welcome, everyone. I would like to start our episode today with some positivity. I'd like to invite you to bring to mind someone you really care about. And we're going to send them some good wishes. So I'll give you a moment to think of someone. And the good wishes are, may you be safe today. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you have ease of being today. And let's give that just a moment to let it sink in for a bit and enjoy that positive feeling that this may bring.
Thank you, Pierre. I absolutely love this practice because it is not only very generous, right, wishing well to those people that we care about, it is also profoundly effective for our own well-being, right? Orienting our hearts and our mind
Yeah,
towards the well-being of others. It is really helpful to unstuck ourselves, when sometimes we're just stuck in our heads and we get so narrow-minded and, it's like our daily life and our little problems and our little things and just kind of orienting our mind and our heart towards someone else's well-being is a wonderful hack, I feel. So thank you for that. Now, what are we speaking about today? I think we'll speak a little bit about mindfulness, but in which context? So something came up for me a few days ago, and I thought I would love to discuss it with Pierre on the podcast. It starts with a very personal situation. I am in the middle of getting, my wedding ready, so just organizing a lot of scheduling and organizing and a lot of little details, and I caught myself. I caught myself being lost in that trance of getting things done, checking items off the list, moving full speed ahead, and just missing out on life in the meanwhile. I really caught myself doing that, being with someone I love so much that I will get married to, and not being able to enjoy quality time with that person because I was checking things off my list, which is a little bit counterintuitive, right? And that reminded me of a question we hear very often in our classes, which is, okay, it's fine to, on paper, I understand. It's good to slow down. It's good to take a step back. It's good to take a breather. But if I do that, won't I become lazy? Won't I become, complacent? Won't I become unproductive? I will, I'll be underachieving. I won't be able to do the things that I need to get done. And I don't want to become that lazy person, and that bit of resistance is something we hear very often. So I thought it was a great topic for us to unpack a little bit today. Because it's not one or the other, right? It's not either I'm not mindful at all and I'm full speed ahead and I'm achieving a lot, or I take time to breathe and I take time to slow down as well, and I won't be achieving things anymore. There's all kinds of in between, and we can speak about that. There's also research that has shown that, you can't just be full speed ahead. You'll be burning out at some point. And I like taking the metaphor of the Formula One for that. You can't drive. How fast are they driving? Like 250, 300 kilometers an hour, like insane speeds. They're stopping, right? They're stopping as well, and then they're driving again full speed. If they were just driving full speed ahead, they would be, burned very fast. And I think it's the same for us as humans. We can't just be achieving, 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 and then be surprised that we break down, if we don't stop. So in order to speed up, we need to slow down. And that's a concept I'd like to speak about today, right? Slowing down to be able to speed up. um, in a way that's, sustainable. So what do you think? Where do we even start?
Wow, it's so much. This is such a rich whole topic that you brought up, Sarah. But first of all, I just want to say how exciting to be preparing for the wedding. So I just want to share that excitement with you. We're excited for you. And then I want to go back to something you mentioned very early on. You said, I caught myself. And I think that's a great one to pause for a moment and appreciate this catching ourselves. This is exactly what we're trying to work towards in our mindfulness journey and practices. We start to notice and look at opportunities where we catch ourselves in a certain mindset or thought or behavior, and just look at it as being, oh, I caught myself in this, as opposed to, oh no, look what I did, and then spiraling into this, all kinds of scolding ourselves, and we shouldn't be thinking this way, or we shouldn't be doing this. So yeah, so thank you for bringing that up in this setting, that is catching ourselves. That's kind of what we do, and that's what we practice, and it's okay. It's the noticing that matters, and then what we do after the noticing. So that's one thing that came to my mind. And then another thing that came to my mind is checking things off the list. This is something we all do, and we have this, this little pleasure of checking something off the list, which is totally justifiable, and it's all good. And it is um kind of, it's a spectrum. Like, we can check something off the list and be happy about it, but also we can take it too far and become so attached to the list. And the list becomes the master, and we become the person serving the list. So I think that's another point where awareness can be really helpful, is to check in, like, where is that list? What's the relationship I have with that list? Am I so entangled in it, or am I still able to look at it as being a helpful list, and I can still be mindful how I approach it? Um, I'll share one more thing, and then I'm sure you have some things coming up as we talk about this. So I wanna hear more from you. The last thing is, and also embedded into what you shared about all the thoughts that come to our mind, like, oh, am I lazy, or am I this, am I that? And this is what our minds do. They come up with all these thoughts, and partly because of conditioning, because previous experiences, because some things we tend to believe in. I should be this way, I should be doing this. And those thoughts, it's another opportunity for us to check in, what are those thoughts, and to put them in their place instead of getting entangled in them. Yeah, there's so much there.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well to mention that it's not it's not just in the mind, right? We're talking about um, looking at those thoughts, investigating, what's happening in my mind, why am I attached to this, what's happening there. We should not forget that a lot of that lives in the body, really. So when we're talking about this, almost this obsession to tick items off, check things off and getting things done very often. I can really speak from a personal experience from living, at a very, very high, just high pace in the corporate world for a long time, where I experienced this addiction living in the body. It's a kind of restlessness, it's a very specific energy. I mean, everyone, has is experiencing it a little bit different, but it's really at the level of the body that you can feel this almost this obsession, this I wouldn't say longing, but this restlessness living in the body. So it's all fine to know in your mind and on paper that maybe it would be good to detach a little bit from the from the to-do list. But what do you do with what's happening in the body? And I think that's just very important. Is it's this self-soothing, this self-regulating, this giving, nurturing, this giving ourselves what we need from a physical perspective as well, so that we can slow down, so that we are able, to take a step back. So we need to, yeah, we need to listen to that as well. And that's part of the mindful exploration, the mindfulness journey, right? To be able to notice what's happening in the body. And doing that when we're still is a lot easier. Now, if there's a lot happening in the body, right? If there's a lot of movement, it's very charged, doing a mindful walk might be easier to, as a way to get in touch with that experience that's happening in the body. So connecting with that energy, maybe that restless energy or that compulsive or obsessive, energy, connecting to it while walking, while mindfully walking might be a good way to start. And then slowly, being able to sit still or to stand still and connect to that and ground. And through the grounding, through the arriving, through the slowing down of the body and the breath, the mind will catch up as well. But it's hard for the mind to slow down if the body keeps going all over the place, right? That's what came up for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this link you just highlighted is so important to pay close attention to. And I think I like this idea, like looking at what's happening in the body and somehow working with it. And that could be taking a little mindful walk. And it could also be, I'm just thinking of ideas for our listeners and all of us to have more ways to process that what's happening in the body. And that could be stretching, taking a few minutes to stretch. That could be if you're someone who practices yoga, that would be taking a few minutes to do a few yoga poses and help bring yourself back to the present moment that way. For me, it's also sometimes it's doing a little bit of Tai Chi. It's something I practice, and I find it so helpful when the body is restless or when it's hard to put it's what's happening is a little vague and it's hard to really grasp it. So going back to the body can be very grounding in those during those times. Yeah. And sometimes it may be being with what's happening in the body, being with that restlessness and trying to zero in on it. Like, where is it exactly? How does it feel like? And kind of being in that mindset, okay, let me explore it as opposed to resisting it or trying to fix it. So that could be another approach. So where is it? How do I feel it? And see, can I focus on that feeling to see what's it like and get close to it instead of trying to escape it? So that's also an approach to what's happening in the body.
And not forgetting also that you don't have to be alone to do that. So not forgetting the power of co-regulating as well, for example, cuddling with a pet, petting your dog or your cat, co-regulating by
Mm,
cuddling, you don't have to be alone to do this. There's really, really strong. It's very powerful to do that with another being. Um,
mhm,
so
mhm,
yeah, just
mhm.
this idea out there. I know if I'm noticing that I am very spread out and my mind is very, is a little bit all over the place, I need the grounding. Um, it's great to sit. It's great to, do a mindful walk. I like doing that. And I love just looking at my dog and say, okay, now it's just 5 minutes of just furry cuddles. Um, and the
Yeah,
body kind of, there's the out breath, the slowing down. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for pointing that out.
Yeah, this is good. And I think back to engaging with someone, if you happen to be with someone, and that could be someone at home, maybe the person you share your life with, or someone maybe a colleague at work, it could be interesting to share some of that, because I think when we share, when we disclose, um, something happens. It kind of helps us anyway. It helps us almost, it's a way to transition out of it instead of being entangled in it. Like we start to become a little bit more of an observer instead of feeling so caught into it. So maybe sharing, I'm right now, I'd like to share something. I'm feeling that restlessness, and I'm feeling maybe that little bit of ambiguous, unpleasant feeling right now. And I think that just bringing someone into that and sharing, that's a whole step in the direction of letting go and easing what's happening.
Mm, mm. Yes, definitely. And of course, I mean the foundations, in order to be able to do that, there needs to be trust, there needs to be safety, and maybe it's a reflection you can have, we can all have, is who are those people that we would feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable with, and those people that we don't, what importance are we giving them in our life, and how much do we care about what they think of us, or I'm thinking especially, for example, at work, or we need to be able to differentiate between the people that allow us to be ourselves, and also vulnerable, and the people that are gifting us with their trust, and with a safe space. Those are the people to invest into, more than people that might just not accept any of that.
Mhm,
That makes
mhm.
sense.
Wonderful. So
So.
making it our intention to broaden our circle of trusted
Mm, mm,
people, and reciprocating that trust, having it
mhm.
be a nice win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
Thank you.
starting ourselves, because sometimes we just wait for others to gift us that, and we don't start. And so being the one to start, being the one to gift that space, so that this door is open, I think. A lot to say about that, but I think that's a good way to wrap up for today. No more to-do list, just to choose from list, which is a concept that you like talking about. I don't know if you want to say a word about that as a closing comment.
Yeah, I know you said it nicely. Instead of positioning our to-do lists as these hard to-do lists, reframing them. These are choices. These are wish lists, and then picking and choosing from the wish list. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you, everyone who's listening, and see you in the next episode.